Morning everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. Bugsy's over there in the field looking for something to play with. Squirrels or balls or whatever. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things that you love. Please do me a favour guys, smash the like button for me like you always do on the video. It really helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. 18,100 people have gone before. Welcome back to them. Welcome to the new. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. First and foremost, sorry for my tardiness this week, my absence. Haven't put much content out. I've been riddled with man flu. I've been in bed the last 2 days, 3 of the last 4 days, and I'm on the tail end of it now. I've checked, it's not COVID, so I think it's just man flu, but I will be going to the game tomorrow, I hope, and so I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. If you want to be on the fan cams, you know where I'll be. I'll put the graphic up on the screen. It's the old, it's the first edition version of the stadium, so it's not accurate, but I think you can see where I mean. If you come out of the South Stand bar, that kind of entrance exit area, and then look to your right, you'll see me on the right hand side. Be cool to get as many of you on for your thoughts post game as possible. Even if you don't want to, come over and say hello if you see me. I'd love to say hello to everybody. And yeah, we will get going. Look, there's 2 topics I want to talk about, but I think that one of them I'm going to have to save for a next week conversation, and that is the Socios crypto commercialization project thing we're doing. In a nutshell, there's, I don't know, 20 reasons why it's a good thing, but there's probably 25, 30 reasons why it's probably a bad thing. I think on this particular one, I land more on the negatives than the positives. I'll explain why in a simplistic a fashion on a different video. But yeah, I think that, I think I probably land on the same side of the coin as the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust on this one, although for different reasons. I personally think the Supporters Trust they want to be included more in decision making, and I think they're just really angry when the club announces things that they haven't been made aware of before the average person, and it's kind of like being picked last for the team at school. They're grumpy about that more than most things. But listen, on this particular topic, like I say, there's lots of pros, lots of cons. There's probably more cons in my mind than there are pros to it, but we will talk about it. What I do want to talk about today is a transfer news, views and clues topic, and it's an exciting one, if it's to be believed. Fijaces, very nice, consistent source of transfer news, views and clues, the Spanish sports outlet, have said today that Tottenham are front and centre, head of the queue for Juve centre-back GLEISON Bremer. The story is that Hojbjerg wants out of Tottenham. Juve, along with 2 or 3 other clubs, are interested in signing Hojbjerg. Why wouldn't they be? He is a very, very good player, a brilliant workhorse. I think he's got leadership material, and I think that just his particular set of attributes and capabilities and competencies just don't really suit what we're looking for in this system. But there's plenty of footballing systems and teams out there that would absolutely benefit from having someone like him. And we know, of course, Atletico Madrid were one of them that were in the summer. They couldn't get the deal done, but Juve certainly looking for him and are thinking about replacing Paul Pogba. Even though they're 2 entirely different types of players, that's one of the areas they want to go in. 35 million euros is the asking price for him from Tottenham. That hasn't changed. And potentially one of the ways in which Juve can find the money to make a deal happen would be to figure out some sort of you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours with regards to GLEISON Bremer, who, according to Fijaces, is a player who Ange has identified as his first choice. Now, there's other stories out today that's still pushing the Lloyd Kelly thing from Bournemouth. I think you should know how I feel about that one, plus a lot of other people, most people don't really, aren't really that excited about the Lloyd Kelly thing. GLEISON Bremer is an interesting name. Now, I think he's an absolute monster of a centre-back. I think he's a beast of a centre-back. The problem is that he doesn't like, apparently, playing in Allegri's system. He finds it boring and counterproductive. His statistics are constantly at the top end for all of the things that you need traditional, no-nonsense centre-backs to do, right? He's brilliant in the tackle. He's got 90% plus passing statistics or passing accuracy statistics for short and medium. Not too bad for long. Great interceptions, great at tackling, good in the air. He's just a very good centre-back. The challenge for me, and I've always said this, is he a player that can adapt from how he's usually been used, which is in the middle of a back three or on the right of a back four in defensive systems, to kind of move into what he would need to be asked of him in a Postecoglou system. Before we get to that kind of specifics of what that looks like, I'd say to you, the initial argument, just whether we should be going for a player of his quality, of his age, is an interesting one. Like, to me, I've been pushing this idea that if you know you've got Vescovic coming through and Ash Phillips and probably Dorrington in the next 18 months, 2 years, you're going to have 3 centre-backs that are all pushing to be part of the future of Tottenham's backline, but none of them are quite ready yet, then do you really want to go and spend money on another 23, 24-year-old who's going to act as the bottleneck for those players coming through? And to me, I don't want to see more bottlenecks. What is the point of having this youth-centric model if you never really allow them any space into the first team? The reason why Brighton's model works so effectively is because they always have availability and access to the first team. There's always that chance. It gives you a compelling story when you're signing the next guy. Look, you're coming to our team, we've got a wonderful base, we've got a great youth team, but you also get chances if you're good enough and when you're ready. And here's the examples, A, B, and C. Tottenham can't really sell that last part of the story yet on recent track record. People like Brighton can, Brentford can. Those teams that were youth-centric back in the day also could. And so Tottenham need to, keep that in mind, that if you're going out and buying that third centre-back who's also young enough on a long-term contract that's better than the people that are coming through, does that, diminish the opportunity and also kind of damage the story a little bit? So I'm okay with Tottenham breaking the mould in the case of getting a third centre-back in who's ready now, if and when an injury happens to Romero or Van de Ven. And I'm even okay with us going out and getting someone who's older, who's 31, 32, who can step up, step in, but also play the role of kind of that father figure, like, with experience, who can do that job. And I'm not sure if GLEISON Bremer, where he fits on that model. I think he is a really, really classy centre-back. I think he's got plenty of time. He's only 26. I think he's been excellent wherever he's gone. And I think you could make the argument with him that he can come in and he'll want first team minutes. That in and of itself is a problem. How do you get him first team minutes if there's no injury to Romero or Van de Ven? Well, with Bremer, you can of course put him in and then potentially push Van de Ven to left back if you need to rest and rotate, or if there's injuries to Destiny Udogie. It just gives you that more options. Is that enough of a selling point, a sales story, to get him to want to join Tottenham when, like I say, you've already got 2 very established players that don't deserve to have their chances taken away from them? You've got these 2 or 3 coming through in a year or two's time. He'll want to come in and play. And also the other question mark about GLEISON Bremer is, does he fit a progressive high line defence? And I'm not saying he doesn't, I'm saying it hasn't really been seen. Certainly not at Juve. At Torino, they played a different model, and he was excellent there as well, good enough to get his move across to Juve. But neither of them have ever really been super high line, where the responsibilities of the back four, of the centre backs, not only are they to be super quick, to get back and defensively be resolute, but also to break the line, to be that first person who can break the line of the forward, break the press, be press resistant in and of itself. And then, of course, that then leads the midfielders to have to come forward, which creates space up the field for people like Maddison, for people like Bissouma, Benson, Corsar, whoever. And if you look at the stats of GLEISON Bremer this season, and again, it's difficult to kind of compare like for like because he's not asked to do it in a Juve system, but his progressive carries, his take-ons, successful take-ons, all of those sorts of statistics are obviously artificially suppressed because relative to other defenders out there that are asked to do that more often, it looks like he's in the lower echelons of the top 5 leagues. But that doesn't mean he can't do it. And I genuinely do think that he is good enough, smart enough, and adaptable enough to be one of those players who absolutely can be asked to do anything and probably do it to a very high standard. The question mark for me is, how much will he cost? Will he want to come and compete? And is there another angle that could make it make sense whilst also not throttling the opportunities coming down the track in 2 years for some of these youngsters that are coming through? And maybe, just maybe, the argument is that someone like Romero will want to move on in a couple of years. It hadn't crossed my mind. I hadn't thought of it like that, because Tottenham are not really a selling club anymore. We very rarely sell our best players, at least of all at peak value. I know obviously Harry Kane is an example, but he's the exception to the rule. We haven't really done that for a long time. And Johnny, shout out to Johnny, he made the argument the other day that he does see Romero leaving at the end of his contract, or towards it, in a couple of years' time, if we can get good money for him. Not because he's unhappy, but just because he might be a player that wants to go somewhere and try something else. And if we can get 80 million quid for him in a year or two's time, then it would prove to be good business, and it would prove to be not too damaging to Tottenham if you had someone ready now, like a GLEISON Bremer or somebody else who is of good ilk, who can come in and be of a similar level, but only cost you 30 million, which is apparently what it's going to cost to get GLEISON Bremer out of Juve. And again, goes back to the trade-off of, if Juve can't afford Hojbjerg, does it make sense just to do some sort of swap? Or, even though you won't necessarily be a player-for-player swap, but the individual deals can take place individually, but you understand what I'm saying. So there's logic. There is a logic. There is a method to the madness of this deal that doesn't preclude our future talent from getting opportunities, and that is on the presumption that one of our centre-backs now won't be around for the next 10 years, or next 8-7 years, or whatever. And if you're thinking about who that would be, it probably would be Romero. So, I don't know. Fijaiches have got like a, they came onto my radar when they got a few big deals. They were first on a few big deals last summer, or sorry, the summer before. But they throw out so many ideas that they're going to get a couple right, but most of them certainly are just non-events. So I'd like to know your thoughts on GLEISON Bremer. For me personally, I think he is a wonderful, wonderful defender. As I say, if you look at the stats, and I have put them up, or I will put them up, you'll see certain metrics and where he fits on the kind of scale. But you have to always consider and context that some of those requirements he's not being asked to do as often, and so if he's not being asked to do them, then he's going to always be at the bottom end of those numbers. Doesn't mean he can't do them, and I think he can for the most part. So, interesting one. He's one of my favourite centre backs in the game, and look, I'd be very happy to see Tottenham have him in. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Before I go, shout out to Sava from Football Heritage TV. I found this out this week, that he has been nominated on the shortlist for the Best Newcomer for the Football Content Awards, and he needs everyone in the Spurs community to get behind him. So if you like Sava, he's one of our own in the community, and he's up against some tough opposition in the Best Newcomer Award. Congratulations for the nomination. Congratulations to make it to the shortlist. And if you guys shut up, Bugsy. If you guys do like him and want to support him, obviously, then you absolutely should. I implore you and I encourage you to do that. The link for his for the nomination, or where you can vote for him. Plus, I think there's a few other people as well. I think there's like the Best Podcast, Last Word on Spurs, have been nominated. Congratulations to them. I think Harry Scarf was nominated for the award for inclusion and diversity, and I think Chris Cowlin was also included for another award. So there's lots of Tottenham content creators that are available. Support our club, support our content creators. The link is in the description below, guys, and we'll see if we can get at least one of these guys some well-deserved recognition for their hard works in the space. Let me know your thoughts on GLEISON Bremer, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you come and find me and say hello, and I will get you on the screen for the fan camps. Like, subscribe and comment, guys, and as always, bye-bye.